Okay, yo, what's the crack? Austin and Nick, episode 47.
47?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I think it is anyway, yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Well, when you upload it next year.
Next year, yeah. We didn't do it on your phone today because I kind of didn't have a charger, so.
But it's every week. My battery's at 10%. Why doesn't he do it?
It's a busy day, I've other things to do, I'm a busy man. Anyway, we're rambling, and we don't want to trust our new clients, our new kind of listeners to turn off after the first minute. So, we're talking about the weather today. The weather and climate change. But from Eric's perspective, from our experience, because just in case anybody's thought us as experts or scientists.
We're not weather experts.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's not like Back to the Future where the forecast, the weather, or the post office or something.
Oh yeah, Doc and then Marty, because you can tell what time the electricity hit the clock.
No, in the second film, he goes right on cue. The weather stops. It's much easier to predict the weather forecast than the post office or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, some random phrase like that. Yeah. Because actually, this is a really interesting. The weather is actually
and it's at the moment. I mean, we're in summer, and like a typical Irish summer is about like 6 weeks of the whole summer. It's usually the first 2 weeks of May, and then the last 2 weeks when the leaving starts on, and then the last week in August, the first week in September. The rest and a bank holiday, as well.
That's always the way, isn't it? When the leaving starts, ends, or something, or starts, and then the result is the sunshine comes out. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk about weather from our kind of experience, and a bit of climate change from our experience, for what we've grown up on, and a few insights from my personal experience, my personal notions and ideas of what and Nick's gonna have his as well. But we're gonna go off in a. So we wanted to start with. But say for example, I always remember my summer times as awesome. I always remember sunny times, loads of weather, loving the sunshine. I was out 24/7. I had my summer holidays from school. I'd spend lots of times at my nanny's, and I'd be out all the time. I'd be playing football. I'd go out in the morning time, and I'd be out all day in the sunshine, roaming the streets, roaming the parks, playing football. And wouldn't come home till I was hungry at night time, and it was always warm. So I have this warm feeling. I never feel like there's rainy days when I look back at me summer holidays and my friends. Between the ages of when I was 7 up to 12, 13, maybe 14, it was always sunshine. It was always happiness. It was always kind of good weather. But you're kind of you have a different perspective.
Yeah,
don't you?
I don't remember. I remember some summers were nice, but most of the summers in Ireland they're not. They're more,
But this is what's interesting to me, because when I'm thinking about it, I was like, I have a different perspective now, because I'm obviously conscious of the weather now, because I'm an adult and I'm paying more attention to the weather, and it affects me through work, driving, all this kind of stuff, and it's like I just pay more attention because it's on my phone, so it's a lot more. And plus, this leads into the global warming and the climate change and how it's talked about on a relative basis. Like people saying it's getting too hot. It's different than it used to be when. Years ago, it's constantly
But I don't think it is. I mean, they've been saying this for ages, and I mean, in fairness, they say, oh well, it only goes up like a millidegree, but I think they're talking in long-term forecast. So I mean, they're talking like 500 years if you don't do anything. But I mean, it's only going up. But in fairness, probably should be starting to do something, at the moment.
But this leads back into trying to see where it comes from, and we were talking about movies and how they can influence culture. And from my experience, what I remember, as I said at the start, my childhood, my kind of formative years, were always good. I always enjoyed the sunshine. But then when I got past 12, 13, 14, I started to think oh, the weather's a bad thing, sunshine is a bad thing, it's going to get so hot, won't be able to survive, and it'll be the weather's going to... So I start getting in a catastrophe kind of mode, in terms of the weather and how it's affecting my life, and I kind of I got more dystopian. And because when I think back now, and I look at the weather now, I just enjoy the sunshine. Whenever the sunshine comes out, I'm like, yes, the sunshine's awesome.
But people are always saying, you know, your parents are probably saying you've spent too much time out in the sun. You need to put factor like 50 or 30 on. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. This is the thing. So, are we influenced by people's narratives and how narratives change their influence?
There's always ads on about, oh, you have to be, you know, don't set it out in the sun too long. You know.
Well, yeah, like it sells sunshine, like it sells sun cream, like in a sense.
Yeah.
So, are we influenced by the media, like I suppose is what we're getting to. So the influence of the media, like because there's actually things I'm reading now at the moment, like saying, you know, do we actually need sun cream? Like, because like your son never gets, you know, skin cancer, your face never gets skin cancer, and that's out in the sunshine all the time.
No, but I think there it does the bad, because when you like you peel, like you get so red that you peel, you know what I mean? Obviously it doesn't happen in Ireland because if you get sunburn in Ireland it's not really, but if you're in Spain or France, I mean that weather is just off the charts. I mean, I always used to, when I went somewhere in France, I always used to get burnt, and then I didn't like how you had to peel, and it was just and then when you go back to Ireland it just disappears because the weather isn't that great. You know what I mean? It's not as good.
It does, yeah. This is we does like environment you go does influence you, like, but it's the point I'm making is about the movies and how the narratives of the movies like can influence the mindset, like when you're growing up, like and stuff like that, can influence your mind, you kind of your way you look at the life, like, you know, ads. So I remember like, but because me and Nick were talking about back in 1994, 1995, there was like the movies that were all like, you know, were natural disaster movies. Like you had Armageddon, you had Twisted, you had the Waterworld, all these different
things. Yeah, Waterworld was the first big one about talking about a dystopian future where the polar ice caps had melted. Was the highest expensive movie, or the most expensive movie at the time, and they all thought it was going to ruin Kevin Costner's career.
But in terms of like how it was affected, or the weather, or the way I looked at the weather and stuff like that was maybe a bit different, because there was a narrative like going through the culture that I was becoming aware of, was that the climate is changing. The climate can go real bad if you don't do something about it. So it's like
they were saying actually it could get up to 40 degrees in the UK, and that's never happened. I mean, the UK is one of the countries that has, you know, hot summers.
Yeah, well, say for example, London is always on the different. It's on the different kind of weather kind of area, because like London's generally very hot, but this is the thing I'm not sure about, like heat and weather and all this kind of stuff. They say like, excuse me, they say in like the actual thing that keeps the heat in is the ground. So you look at London, it's a big city. And so if the sunshine's gone in London, and it's all stone, buildings and all kind of, it contains the heat better. But if you look at kind of Ireland, where it's all open grassland, and does the heat stay? Like these are things I'm starting to question. Like, say for example, like there's so many more sensors and so many devices out there now that measure the heat on a regular basis, and there's so many NASA satellites, all this kind of stuff, so many different things measuring the heat. Like, and they go back 100 years or 100,000 years and they look at the ice cores and they say, oh, this happened to the weather. But then it's like, then I'm saying, I'm looking at the actual like weather now at the moment and how it's all analysed. I'm saying, is it a true measure how you look back? Because like, because I think it was the weather, like back, I think the other day or something, they hit 29 degrees or 40 degrees in some place in I think it was Donegal or Galway or something.
29 degrees probably.
But then it's like, then Dublin was a different.
it has temperature. It's like 22.
So it's like, so how do you equate like what happened? You know, when you.
Well, I think because the north, that's probably closer to UK, where the UK it's the breeze or the temperature.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
I always wondered that.
How do you measure it? Is it raw? It's all relative or not relative? It's like it's such a complicated, you know, kind of way. It's a complicated answer, I suppose, but there's no one answer fixes all, or there's no one narrative. Maybe there's no one solution or one kind of theory that fixes, that kind of analyzes and says this is the way it always is, or this is the way it always is with the weather and stuff like that. Because I remember looking at this thing years ago, and I was like, got interested in like astrology and the sun cycles and stuff like that. And there's this thing, the axial precussion, like where it's actually the axis of the earth goes around the sun like in a 26,000 year kind of like a cycle. So it kind of gets close to the sun and then moves away again. So it's kind of like just the way the kind of world kind of moves around the sun. So It's but apparently like we're closer to the sun now than we were 100 years ago. So if this is factored in,
but we're still
yeah, like we're not going to get fucking nothing dangerous going to happen. Like not going to be like barbecue weather now the next. But there's income. There's kind of factors like play into like all these kind of all these things that add up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because
sorry, go on.
Yeah, but it's just that I love the sunshine now. I like the heat. I like the sunshine. I like when it's sunny and I can go out and go game of golf and I go out with the kids.
You remember '94 when Ireland went over to the US and they couldn't handle the heat? That was
drinking the water.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Because they were in they were playing Mexico with Florida. And Florida is summer. It was like roasting and they were
baking them.
Yeah, and they couldn't. Obviously they lost 2-1. And they couldn't have. They went back to New York. I think they played with Florida in New York. Yeah. New York match.
Giant Stadium or something like that.
Yeah, New York, but they were able to handle the heat. But then when they played, I think Holland, which they beat previously, but it was in Florida again, where it's the same,
But this is what also we're talking about, the different hemispheres, different latitudes on the Earth. Say for example, if you take Ireland, we're on the same, or Dublin, we're on the same latitude as maybe Iceland or New York and stuff like that, so the weather would be similar. Like
no. Norway and Sweden.
Well, we're not the same latitude as Norway, because Norway's further up, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
but
it's Dublin City in Ireland. Latitude. If you get the Earth, you're talking about the latitudes going around. Okay.
No, New York wouldn't be. New York has cold weather, very cold weather in the winter, but it has still very warm weather.
Yeah, but the reason we have the warmer weather is because we're in the North Atlantic, like kind of. You learn that just kind of thing goes under like drift or whatever you call it. It's like a heat. Yeah. The heat goes under the ocean and kind of comes around. And that's why we have, as you said, we have warmer than we should, like winters and then cold summers. Like, but this is the thing. I was looking at this thing, latitudes. Like say for example, Malaga, Spain. Yeah. Like where I've gone most of my younger years or life, gone on the holidays. Like, and most Irish people have gone. Yeah. It's on the same latitude as Los Angeles. In America, like that's in a heat, like it's on. So these things, these places you have, like when you break it down, you talk about the, the world view, and as we were talking earlier on, like you're in Cambodia, and Cambodia's on the
Cambodia,
more and more on the equator.
Yeah,
like,
and that was like pretty much looked like a desert kind of. Well, it wasn't desert, but it's very warm.
No, yeah, but it's like luscious, like it's loads of trees and jungle and stuff like that. But then it's also like when you look at the sunshine and how the sunshine of the day and night is affected. Like you've longer days, like longer lights, you've longer time.
No, in Cambodia it was the daylight saving. I don't think there was daylight saving, so it was dark at 6 o'clock all year.
Yeah, but it's also you say like the likes of Alaska, or you look at Greenland or and the Antarctic, like where it could be like dark for 6 months of the year because the way the Earth kind of at the angle of the Earth on its axis, like when it changes, like and stuff like that. From the northern hemisphere, and when it's summer in the northern hemisphere, it's winter in the southern hemisphere. Yeah. So these things like it's
that's why in Australia in January don't go to, it's like maybe 45 degrees, and that's when actually every year in January you always see the bushfires. Blazing through Australia. It's crazy in January. Yeah, it's horrific. I mean,
but this is the thing. Like it's all, but also it's in the media. Like when you see all the news in the media, like it's all forest here, forest there.
Even in LA, remember there was a big fire that raged.
Placidus or something, Platicades or something. I think it's like. But this is what interesting as well, because they were saying it's not that they were environmentalists and stuff like that, because they didn't want to turn on the water. There was a river being blocked to coming into the fire hydrants because they were supposed to protect the fish that was an endangered species. Yeah. So the governor was blocking the water from coming in, and it was all like, this is where environmentalists are like, oh, like fish is like more important than the fire hydrants being refilled. I'm saying that's my experience as well. That's what I read. But it's like everything has a different kind of angle, and it's kind of like you say, like, that's what people say, global warming, climate change, it's an actual catastrophe, it's all this kind of stuff. Like, one more thing, I just wanted to, I remember watching the Mad Max movies. If any of you watched the Mad Max movies, like it was
Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson, yeah, thanks Nick.
And George Miller.
Tina
Turner was in one of them.
She was, but my point is, them movies were written by a guy that wrote the script. He was an ER emergency room doctor, and he was influenced in his younger life of a lot of car crashes in his early career into the A&E where he was working. And in Australia in the 70s, the Mad Max of the 70s and was influenced by the 70s and the oil crisis in the 70s and the social kind of disorder in the 70s that was happening in Australia. And Australia was so the doctor that wrote the script was his early influence were influenced by a lot of A&E crashes, and because Australia used to have a lot of muscle cars and big cars, and so it was very traumatic for the guy. But he presented this in his art, in his kind of he presented this in his writing, in his script, in his kind of screenplay and stuff like that. So it's all influenced, like when you watch the Mad Max movies, it's based on the cultural influence of the time and also personal experiences. Like, so my point is, you look at Mad Max movies and you look into them, and it's like you watch them as a kid, and it's like it's a dystopia, post-apocalyptic view of the world. So I watched that and I remember thinking like, oh, this is scary, like, but it's based in Australia at a time of a cultural kind of cultural transformative period, like. And when you look at, say, you look at other art, and you say, look at other art, and you say, like, our art is like, you look at like Armageddon, is like a meteorite like coming down and all this kind of stuff, like, and then you say you watch Waterworld, is all the global climate change and the different ice caps melting. But there's always a different perspective to that. Like, I remember looking at this guy, like a visionary kind of engineer, and he was saying like, like almost 70% of the earth is like covered by water. So so if the water rolls over the land, just put islands or kind of build engineering platforms on the ocean and float. You have a floating city and stuff like that, and it's not going to happen like tomorrow. All this kind of stuff. Like, please God, it doesn't happen tomorrow. But it's most like the probability of it happening tomorrow is very, very low. But you can engineer for these things in the future. Having like look at Amsterdam, not Amsterdam, Holland, or is actually Holland. Is actually underwater, like under the water table, but they've dams that block the water from going in. But see, it's engineering and all these. There is solutions to it, but you can get very dystopian. Say, you can get like, this is the point I'm trying to make, is like your brain can get rattled. You can get a stress response and be like, oh, what do I do? Like the sky is falling. No, and that's the human condition, the fight or flight mode. And when you get out of that, you realize like, yeah, okay, might be a problem, but there's a solution to every problem and stuff like that. So you kind of say that when I was younger, I didn't understand the threats of like global warming and stuff like that. But I went through a stage where I was really, really scared. But now I'm getting to a stage where I'm looking at the solutions, and there's a lot of solutions to all this kind of stuff. So I'm not scared anymore, and I'm not dystopian, and I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm kind of like, we'll figure it out, like, and that's just kind of where I am with the weather and the climate change at the moment. So
sure, in Italy, don't they have gondolas? Venice, they don't have roads. I think they've more gondolas.
Yeah, Venice is literally is an island. It's on marshland, and it's only kept up because, and apparently, like in Venice, in a couple of years, like the water will flush the streets. But this engineer could fix it, or it could be just the fact that the Venice was built on a swamp and marshland in the first place and stuff like that. But it's like, there's engineered ways. Like, the thing is, if they wanted to fix Venice, if it was financially beneficial, that like Venice had to be like, fixed, they'd fix it, like, kind of way. Yeah. So if the, the kind of way, it's like, it's just. Do
you remember back Qatar? They had the World Cup, but they couldn't have it in the summer. They had to have it in winter because it's so warm. There's another country that's like all these countries in the Middle East. They're up at 50 degrees Celsius. They're crazy.
But this is a lot of Irish people. A lot of people I know, like friends and family, like it's too warm.
Yeah, exactly. They come over. They come over to Ireland for summer. Yeah,
it's too warm. Yeah. And this is the thing, but we don't have air conditioning like they do in other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't have experienced this problem on a regular basis. Not that it's a problem. We don't experience this kind of conditions, like the warmer summers and the kind of the humidity. We don't experience that like on a regular basis. So we're not prepared for it.
No.
So when it happens, we go on the stress response. Say, oh, stop being so warm. Stop being so. We want the weather to change. We wanted the snow. We wanted the rain and stuff like that. So
even in the winter, we're not prepared for the amount of snow that happened. Even in 2018, when it's just
beach for the east.
Yeah.
Everyone went to shop and bought bread and milk. It's like, it's funny, like.
But the thing, there should be things structured for these kind of the hot weather after the cold weather. Yeah. But like every other country seems to have,
forward thinking. This is the stuff I think my politicians. I expect from politicians to work on in terms of planning for, you know, climate change or weather events. Instead of like turning all the roads into roads for bikes, don't pay tax and don't pay insurance, and you know, giving us road users who pay tax and insurance
and traffic jams,
Or make bigger roads, make better roads, make better traffic kind of network systems.
And I on Sundays I go home on Sundays and like I think they do the roadworks on Sundays, and you know, worst time they're stuck in the traffic, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, there's better ways of doing it, and I think it just comes down to like, is it just, you know, you need a civil service, you need a department that's kind of I'm not gonna, this is my just opinion, but maybe you need a department that kind of looks a long term and doesn't change with every kind of you know, cycle of government change, like the civil service group that's like focused on kind of systems within the country that work on a regular basis. They have a specific budget, like, you know, like say you know, get like, you know, infrastructure, like say winters, if we have more harsher winters, like, you know, have like things that do roads and all this different thing. But you know, I'm not imagining that I have the answers, but I'm just saying.
Do you remember the cartoon Captain Planet where it was the spirit of the earth called Gaia? It's voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. She gets 5 kids to with rings to. They're basically 5, you know, eco-friendly people who would try to save the planet themselves. So they kind of help to save. So each person, the first person is from South America. He's got the power of the earth, so he can make the earth. You know, there's a North America. There's a guy from North America who has the power of fire. From Asia, there was a girl who had the power of water. I think, and then other countries, Europe, there was the wind, and then South America or another country had the power of heart. But I mean, like, that's but there was always, each week there was a villain who was trying to, you know, be toxic and, you know.
Yeah, but this is another influence. Like, you know, why is the kids that need to fix their
exactly. Yeah.
Why is it like? Is it like it's just kind of this mind of anxiety? It's like, oh, we're doing it for the benefit of our kids. Like,
why are kids like? This generation of kids are just.
No, yeah, but what do they like? I have kids. Like, and I mean, like, I don't know the kids know that much. Like, and they're only growing up. Like, and I'm teaching them stuff like. And, you know, that I learned from my father.
But I think it's due to social media. I think they see a lot of it in social media, and you know.
Yeah, but like,
they're influenced from social media. People are influenced.
Yeah, but social media, like, I don't. My kids, I don't let them on social media. I'm like, you don't need to be influenced by everyone else. You listen to it, like.
But that's the thing. Everyone is influenced by everyone else, and that's the problem. Some people can't handle it. Some people can't handle it. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, it's a problem, but I mean, there's a solution. As you know, some people, you know, what's the Einstein quote? Don't never give never talk to a negative person. They'll find a problem for every solution. You know, it's kind of like if you focus on solutions, you know, and there's a solution for most problems or every problem. So, you know, focus on the solutions. Anyway, going off on the tangent. What are we doing? What 8 minutes like we're only in starting?
Yeah, we're still
So what do we? This is what I think about my idea. In terms of we're influenced by the media and
social media and the internet and
I'm saying what I'm trying to get at, like, is that I don't know if it's my generation or kind of like the 1994, like I'm 12 and a different generation. Are they affected by? I don't know if it's so much my generation, but maybe, you know, is kind of there's a generation. You know, we have the Generation X and you have the Millennium generation.
Yeah, we're the Millenniums.
Generation Z. Like the millenniums, like we kind of always like everyone's always like economic problems, like money and stuff like that. Like we're always like, you know, financial independence was always everything. But I don't know if it's generation, because Generation X don't give a shit. They just like, let's get on with it, like, let's just figure it out, like, you know, don't be annoying me, like, you know, punch them in the face or something, like.
Is that the generation after us?
No, before it's like, you know.
No, they have problems, but I think we're the ones that came into the technology, the era of technology.
Yeah,
so we see kind of firsthand, you know, online.
Oh, yeah, we had the analog, and then we moved from analog into digital, so we kind of seen the trans.
It's like when I was telling you about the TV, when we were growing up, our family, when the weather was always warm, we couldn't get the channels because we had the aerial, and so everyone else had good clear pictures, and we had like the fuzzy, you know, even Channel 4, which was the worst. You couldn't even see the Channel 4. And it was just crazy. And then Sky comes in, and then the clear picture here. I mean, couldn't believe how clear these pictures were.
But that's funny because when Sky came in, what Sky year did Sky come in? Like so kind of
probably the 90s, early 90s.
I did 90s.
Maybe no, late
the Premiership was
late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
No, but the Premiership was on ITV, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, the Premiership started in 92 or 91 or something.
But it was on ITV though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on ITV. But no, but with it kind of like Sky coming out with the kind of the presence of the kind of popularity of the Premier Division. So that also the point is what I'm making is when the satellites came in, as you say, we got clearer pictures. Like, but that's only that's 30 years ago, like 35 years ago, and it's like how times have changed. As you said, like you're at home and like the aerial was like fuzzy and you couldn't only had 2 channels and stuff like that. Like it's only 40 years before we had 2 channels, RTE and RT1, like or RT2. You know, like it's. Like,
and now we've millions of channels. Yeah,
it's like we've just gone through a phase of just pure like transformation, you know, like it's
and even they're multiplying. Each channel has been multiplied by 10 channels. Like there used to be a Sky 1, 2, and 3. I don't know. They're called it differently now. The Sky Max, Sky, all these different Sky kind of affiliates are. Although I do believe that the music channels have gotten the TVs have gotten down. There used to be loads of music channels, but I think they must be amalgamating them all into one, maybe.
Yeah, well, let's keep on that. The climate change and weather climate, climate change and weather, things that actually affected our generation was a big narrative, and it's affecting us now. Yeah, it's affecting how we view the world. Because I don't personally not like it. The way my kind of kids are being taught sometimes about global warming. Because I say they come and say like, oh, the sunshine is too warm, it's too warm. But
have they been abroad to countries?
We're just actually in the UK, like in the UK.
No, but they haven't been to like Spain.
No.
No, well, see, they need, if they're saying it's too warm, they need to go to Spain and France.
No, the point I'm making is they hear that because they just say the sunshine. People repeat it's too warm. It's the sunshine. Like
it's not too warm. I don't know.
What I'm trying to say, like you look at sunshine, like that's free energy. Yeah. Like that's free. You can use solar panels and get free energy from the sun. It's like.
And you still don't. I mean, you're saving a lot of electricity. You don't have to turn the heating on. You know.
It's a no-brainer. I think the sunshine and the weather, like the heat and the weather can be. It can be just you can get free energy from it. Like it's free energy. And why the sun energizes you?
Like people complain. They want this. Oh, it's raining, and then the sun comes out. Oh, I'm so roasted. I'm dying. I need, you know.
This is the Irish bipolar.
The Irish people, they this.
It's bipolar. Like it's like 50% chance of rain, 50% chance of sunshine, and it's kind of like it's either or. Like it's just our climate. Because we are affected by our environment in a sense. Like we are affected because like California, it's like we sunshine surfing. You know, it's a sunny set. Like. You look at say, you watch the celebrities in LA and it's like, it's always sunny, it's always sunshine. Like, you look at Ireland, it's like, Ireland's kill climate. So people say, everyone comes to Ireland and say, it's so green, man, it's so green. It's actually, like, it's because it's the rain and stuff like that.
Wimbledon is always sunny. One or two days in the tournament, like, I don't think that 2% of the that it's ever happened. It's only been rain.
Put the roof over or something.
Yeah, but I mean, like how, like in London, like how.
Because London is on a different. London's on a different. It's like a weather. It's a weather kind of I wouldn't say phenomenon, but it's the way the weather's made. Like Ireland, like the cold snap comes down from the Arctic, comes down to say Dublin level or like Waterford level, and then the equator kind of heat zone comes up and pushes up past London, pushes up to Manchester, and that's where kind of it buffers. It just kind of works and kind of fixates. That's why London is always like much hotter like than Ireland, than Dublin and stuff like that. It's just the weather system's the way it works. Like
then why is it in the winter it's colder than?
It's not. No, it's not like if you look at
no, it is. It's
London.
colder.
Yeah, it's colder, but it's not as cold as Ireland and stuff like that. It's like
no, it's colder.
Dublin.
No, it's colder.
And what's it based on? What's your evidence for that?
It's always warmer in the summer and it's colder in the winter.
You're talking about Ireland. You're talking about
I'm talking about London. UK is colder and warmer.
When you say UK, London, we're talking about London as a memory.
No, I'm talking about UK in general.
Well, then we're talking about Wimbledon, and we're talking about London and why it's always sunny during the Wimbledon session. Yeah. See the Wimbledon season, like
And how come football? I mean, the football in the UK seems to get be okay. Because when they played the Euros in the UK, it was fine. It didn't seem to rain.
But that's it. There's a different. It's part of the climate, part of the environment, like part of the. I don't know what your words would call it, but there's part of the locations in the UK. The lower half, the southern half of the UK is basically
more,
warmer climate. Like.
We're kind of saying that the Irish can't handle the foreign heat. No, they cannot handle. No,
Some can't.
Huh?
Some can, because lots of people I know go to Spain on a regular basis.
Yeah, they can handle it. You go to Spain, but then when the actual heat comes here, they're like, "Oh, I'm dying."
That's only some of the people, because like I love the sunshine. I'm enjoying the sunshine. I'm like, do you know, if I had more fitter body, I'd be like walking around with no top on, like, and then I'd be like, I'd advertise my OnlyFans page on the back of me back, like. Anyway, but I mean, I think I just think the weather and the climate change kind of narrative is interesting. It is interesting, but one of the things I will stand by is like, I generally think like we've never had more sensory. I wouldn't say centuries. We've never had more data on the weather than we ever had now. Like with the other kind of stuff like that. How we measure the climate or the temperatures in certain areas. Like we've never had as many devices measuring the weather like as we have now. So I don't think you can kind of say like the weather is like massively more hotter than if you look back 100 years, or you look back up to like 1,000 years and say like, oh, the weather, because I don't think that it's apples and oranges, because it's it's like that's just my notion. I don't get that. If someone could explain that to me, how you can kind of say it's the third hottest day on record, like, or it's the fourth hottest day on record, and it's like the record 100 years old, but like what was the kind of the kind of measurement of the 100 years ago? Is it the same location every time? It's like Dublin for 100 years, the same measurement every time, or is it like Galway, Donegal, and in Waterford? Like, I mean, how's like apples and oranges? It doesn't mean.
But I think what they're saying is, if because we're so close, Dublin is so close to the sea, it's not as warm. They say it's as opposed to inland. So say you're living in a town, I think it's much warmer in a town, in a village, kind of, as opposed to the coast. If you're closer to the sea, they say it's the
coastal breeze and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then this is what actually keeps the heat in, because it's like someone always like my son asked me and says like, I've seen it on YouTube or something. When you go up to the mountain, top of the mountain, and say Everest, like you're closer to the sun than if you're low on the ground, low. So why isn't it hotter up in the top of the mountain than it is like lower down in the village? Because it's the ground that keeps the heat. It's the ground that keeps the sunshine bounces off the ground and heats up the ground, and that's where you're getting the heat from. Like, so it's like, because when you think like the closer you go to the sunshine, the warmer we'll get. Like,
but I think it is. But there's also the snow as well. What was it? There was a movie where they were stuck up in the mountain, yet it was still sunny. You know what I mean? So there was sunbathe, even though it was
because
snow.
Snow, exactly. The snow's there. So like what actually keeps the heat in? Like what is the heat? It's like urban areas, maybe it's like the buildings that traps the heat, like, or the the ground. It's like, it's interesting. That's why you say it might be hotter in kind of in urban areas and stuff like that.
I think you're rambling now.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, what's left of the box?
It's minute left.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up here now.
Wrap it up.
Sorry for rambling.
And this is just my.
It's
an opinion show.
Yeah.
And we're trying to
We're just trying to try different topics. I know we mostly go back to movies, but we're trying not to go to movies because I like movies.
We use the movies as a kind of metaphor, and I would say as a kind of as a tool to understand my experience of when I went from like enjoying the sunshine and then getting a bit more dystopian about the sunshine, and then kind of just coming back to like, life's awesome with sunshine, like. But yeah. So
we don't know what the weather is gonna be like this weekend. Hopefully it's nice and it doesn't stop raining, or it doesn't. But it hasn't rained in a while. It's just the sun. It was lovely on Saturday, Friday. Kind of went down a bit, and then by Sunday it did rain on Sunday. So, but you need a bit of rain. You need to balance it out.
All right, Batman.
Anyway. So, see you. Check